Chair Foff, you may begin.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I would like to call this meeting to order at 7:05. Welcome to the June 26, 2023 City of Burlingame Planning Commission meeting. For all in attendance today, please note that the Planning Commission meeting is being held in person and using the Zoom webinar format. For those of you attending via Zoom, please note there are several ways to submit comments during this meeting. You may raise your hand in Zoom by clicking on the raise hand button located at the bottom of your screen. Members of the public who are participating in the Zoom webinar by phone can dial *9, raise a hand. You may also send your comments by email to publiccomment@burlingame.org. Staff will be monitoring emails submitted during the meeting, which will be read at the appropriate time. The length of the email comment should be commensurate with the 3 minutes customarily allowed for verbal comments. If you are an applicant or an applicant's representative, I will ask you to raise your hand when your agenda item is up for discussion so that we may be prepared for you to speak at the appropriate time. We ask that you also turn on your video at that time, so that we may have a more clear communication simulating the experience that we would have if we were meeting in person. This meeting is also being streamed live on YouTube and will be uploaded to the city's website. Agenda item 2, roll call. The record should note that 5 members of the commission are present this evening. Commissioners Camarado and Lowenthal are absent. Agenda item 3, request for AB 2249, remote participation. I don't believe there are any commissioners participating remotely. That brings us to approval of the minutes. We have a meeting minutes to approve this evening from June 12th, 2023 of the regular Planning Commission meeting. Any comments, changes, discussions?
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion from Commissioner Schmidt, second by Commissioner Horn, and so the motion passes. Oh boy, 5.
Let me just do a roll call.
Oh,
Make it official. No call.
sorry.
Commissioner Shores.
Aye.
Commissioner Schmid.
Aye.
Commissioner Say.
Aye.
Commissioner Horan. Aye. And Chair Fox.
Aye. So it's 5-0. Nothing, and then 2. I have trouble with that. Approval of the agenda. Staff, are there any changes to the agenda this evening? And do we have any recusals?
Yes, there are 2, one change and one potential change. The first potential change is we have a request from the applicant for item 10C, which is 221 Victoria Road, to be moved to the first item. They have a travel commitment later this evening, and we're hoping that they could be heard sooner than later so that they could make their flight. If that is of the pleasure of the commission, then we could do that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then the other, we just received a request for continuance by the applicant for 123-135 Primrose Road, item 9C. So that would be heard at the next meeting. I do see that there's a speaker request for someone who wanted to speak on that. So either they could hold their comments until the next meeting, or if they would like, we could still take in their comments for the record, and then that could be reflected in the next meeting when the item is presented.
Are you saying they could make their comment now up front, or they have to wait until it would have been?
Since the comment is for an agenda item that's being pulled, it wouldn't be for this. If they wanted to make a comment in the non-agenda portion of it, they could, but the most practical route might be to save that comment for the next agenda. But they are certainly able to speak and raise their hand during the non-agenda item if they'd like.
Okay, good. Then we'll go on to public comment non-agenda. Members of the public may speak about any item not on the agenda. Members of the public wishing to suggest an item for a future Planning Commission agenda may do so during the public comment period. Ralph Brown Act The state local agency open meeting law prohibits planning commission from acting on any matter that is not on the agenda. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. each. Please speak clearly into the microphone. Do we have any members of the public who wish to speak on any item that is not on the agenda?
And again, this cover, as it has been pulled from the agenda, item 9C, 123, 135 Primrose Road. If anyone wanted to comment on that item, this would be the time to do it.
Yes, would you like to? Please come forward.
I was the one person you were mentioning, right? I hope so.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay, so I get to get this over with quickly. All right. Good evening, Planning Commission. My name is Themo Aguilar. I'm a field representative from the NorCal Carpenters Local Union 217 right here in San Mateo County. And I would like to share my experience with everyone here and what the Carpenters Union has done for myself and for my family when we have local projects approved with labor standards. Construction apprenticeship programs have the resources and ability to lift our neighbors out of poverty and into a comfortable middle-class lifestyle without drawing on taxpayers. Our county's veterans here can be brought directly into our apprenticeship program through a program we have called the Helmets to Hard Hats program. It is how I came into the program as well. And not only will their training fees be taken care of, veterans can collect their GI bills while going through throughout the entire program. Apprentices go through the entire program without owing a dime. It is even possible for apprentices to purchase their first homes close to where they work while in the apprenticeship program. To be able to create a local viable pool of skilled laborers is one of the main missions of the Carpenters Union. The Carpenters Union also offers an excellent healthcare program where sadly so many workers have none. These workers have to rely mainly on social programs and overly taxed emergency rooms. I'm pretty sure we all seen those. When my son was injured while playing varsity football, he had torn a ligament in his hand and lost motor functions of one of his fingers. My son had the medical coverage to repair his hand and bring him back to 100% functionality through top-notch physical therapy. If we can adopt these sorts of standards, a living wage, an apprenticeship program, a good health and welfare program, you will see the standard of living throughout our community in the Bay Area rise up. Thank you all for allowing me to be able to speak on my personal experiences and just a small part of what the Carpenters Union vast resources can do for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else here in the room who would like to speak, or perhaps on the computer? Public comment.
There's a hand raised. This is from the project architect. So I don't know if they want to add further clarification to the request for continuance. We allow them to.
So you're saying the one from 123 Primrose?
Yes, correct.
Okay, whatever, Mr. Architect for the project, if you would like to speak in open
Yes,
comment, but we cannot,
let me bring them in.
yes, cannot comment. Okay, you want to speak? And if so, please introduce yourself and speak. Oh. Hi.
Good evening, commissioners. So I joined because I had not received the email that staff had received my email and accepted that they would request for continuous. So I'm thankful that you're continuing it, and then we'll see you guys at your next meeting. So thanks for accepting our
Okay.
request. Okay.
Oh, so that's it. Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Next time, see you next time.
See you.
Next is, so we have no more. Yes, we're going to close the public comment.
Yes, we have no more,
Nope.
there are no emails that are for non-agenda.
Okay, closing the public event. On to study items, agenda item 7, where there are no study items. Agenda number 8. It's a consent calendar. There are no study items for review or consent just for review. Next comes agenda item 9. Regular action items. So we're going to hear about 9A, which is 1460 Balboa Avenue.
Actually, I apologize to interrupt. We will move item 10C first, so we could hear that now.
Oh, well, wait a sec. Now I got confused. Did I already jump? No, I did it right. So
Fine.
we're on the, but that is 10C is, I thought it had been pulled.
That item was the one that requested that they be first.
I thought it was Victoria.
Yeah.
It is Victoria.
It is.
Yeah, but on here, I'm on my script is
Uh-oh.
is action items. So,
Going to jump to design review.
Being one.
oh, I'm sorry. Now I understand what happened. I apologize. Okay, so then we are going to go to, oh, it jumps before everything.
Yep.
Right now, gotcha.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, now I know.
Not following the script, but
That's okay.
problem here.
I'll get it. Pardon me. Now we are, we're going to switch the order up a little bit to accommodate and some people who are in travel issues. So we're on now agenda item 10, design review study items. We're going to look at item 10C, which is 221 Victoria Road. If you are the applicant and are attending the meeting via Zoom, please raise your hand so that we may be prepared for you to speak at the appropriate time. If possible, we ask that you also turn on your video at this time. Were any commissioners not able to visit the project site, or do any commissioners wish to note any ex parte communications regarding this project? Okay, all good, and nobody's recusing from this item. Let the record note that all commissioners present have visited the site. Can we hear the staff report, please?
Yes, the subject property contains an existing 2-story single-unit dwelling and an attached 1-car garage. The applicant is proposing a new porch at the front of the house. First floor additions along the left side and rear of the house, and a 2nd-story addition to the center of the house. The existing 2nd story along the right side of the house extends beyond the declining height envelope and is considered existing non-conforming. The proposed 2nd-story addition extends beyond the declining height envelope along the right side of the house. However, a special permit is not required since it meets an exemption allowed for window enclosures. In summary, the applicant is requesting design review for a 1st and 2nd-story addition to an existing single-unit dwelling. So for this and then all the remaining items on the agenda, we'll go through these the following steps. First is to ask the commission if there are any questions of staff. Next, the chair will open the public hearing and the applicant may speak. Following that, members of the public will be invited to speak either in person, Zoom, or by email. And then finally, the public hearing will be closed and the commission will deliberate. So before opening the public hearing, I'd like to ask the commission if there are any questions of staff.
I don't think so. Oh, doesn't look like. So if you are, do I say that? You are the applicant and attending via, meeting via Zoom, please raise your hand. We may be prepared for you to speak at the appropriate time. If possible, we ask that you also turn on your video at this time. Record note, okay. And any questions of the applicant? Any questions of the applicant? Oh, I'm going to open the public hearing with the applicant. Please come forward and state your name and anything else you'd like to add about your project. Sorry about that. I got my orders mixed.
Yes. So firstly, my name is Veeran Ahuja. And firstly, thank you very much for accommodating me to have a red-eye flight tonight. So really appreciate that. I'm the property owner for 221 Victoria Road. I have been living in this house since 2003. This is my family house. And for foreseeable future, I want to stay in this house as far as I can see. And this, so let me read the comment notes I have. The original house was built in 1941, and the original house was only single-story, and it seems sometime in 1970s, the records are not very clear, a 2nd-story addition was done. And 2nd-story addition was only a bedroom and attached bathroom and a closet. The overall house is okay, but it has number of design flaws. There is no front porch. You, especially during the times of rain, you have to just kind of barge in quickly in the house. There is no dining room. There is no family room. The bedroom upstairs is very disconnected from rest of the house. The way the house is, the staircase to the upstairs bedroom goes from the middle of the living room. And that's on the front of the house. And that other two bedrooms are on the back of the house. So it's very disconnected from the rest of the house. So especially if you have other family members or kids or older people, you feel very disconnected from between the upstairs bedroom and the downstairs bedroom. Other issues are there's no direct connection to the yard, either from the kitchen or from the bedrooms downstairs. You have to go through a hallway to get to the yard. So that, and we like kind of an outdoor-indoor living, so that doesn't allow that. So to address all these issues, I'm proposing the changes I have proposed in the plan. It's both extension on the first floor, redoing part of the house and extending to add a family room, and then some spaces that I will lose because I'm adding access to the family room. So to compensate that, I'm adding a bedroom on the lower floor. Then on the upper floor, I reconfigure all the staircase to access the upper floor, so it becomes a little more connected to the rest of the house. And then I'm proposing adding one more bedroom to the second floor. I have been working with the planning department for several months, initially with Amelia and then with Fazia. Both of them have been very helpful. They gave a number of comments and I included all their comments. The house is completely compliant with all the planning codes. We are not asking for any variance or any special permits in here. In terms of the design, the building height proposed is same as the existing second floor. So we are not increasing height from what it is. The finishes are also, we are planning to continue the same finishes for the exterior finishes, which is red wooden planks. We'll continue the same finish. Windows are aluminum windows. We plan to continue the same kind of windows. And also in terms of, I'm an architect myself. So I'm also very sensitive to the overall character of this and the scale of the neighborhood. The addition will use the same exterior finish that we have today. The building height matches the existing second floor. The second floor addition is set back from the front to keep the overall scale facing the street consistent with the rest of the street. The house on the left side is already two-story. So, and there are a number of other houses also on the street which are two-story. So I believe in terms of matching the scale and the height and the overall looks of the street, we are fairly consistent there. And that's my presentation. Any questions? I'm happy to answer.
Are there any questions of the applicant? I just had one. You mentioned that as far as you knew, the home had gotten the first remodel in the 70s.
Yes.
Was that with permits?
There are some drawings on the in your database, but the drawings are so badly printed, you cannot read them. So I believe there must have been a permit, but you cannot read from those drawings what was exactly drawn in there. It does show a section which shows a second floor. It does show some rudimentary, what you can make out in a very fuzzy drawing there. You can see that, but exact dates and all are not really visible in that from what I saw online.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Commissioner Say.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to ask, that flat roof that's over the added bedroom on the main floor, does that have a parapet wrapping around the roof, or is the flat roof line at the top of the line that you delineate as the roof?
You're talking on the bedroom on the left side?
Yes, on the main.
So It will have a flat roof, and of course, to accommodate some of the water issues and all that. I think I don't want to end with a roof. I think that doesn't look very nice. So I think little bit of parapet to, I would say, give it a proper kind of a finish on the top. That's what I'm proposing.
And that's what you have drawn here. And
Yes.
the reason I'm asking that question is I was wondering about that window that's in the stairwell, that the triple stack window in the stairwell in elevation looks like it's landing right on top of the roof. But if there is actually a parapet wrap and the actual roof itself is below, quite a bit below that sill, then then that would be probably a better drain,
Okay.
water protection.
Yes. Yeah, I think I may not even need that window to be, I would say honestly, that tall. I can raise the sill of the window to maybe 18 inches from the floor to make it, or 12 inches from the floor at least to make sure there's enough waterproofing there.
Okay, and then did you consider any other roof detail between the two gables that are meeting in the middle? You have like a valley. This is on the south elevation on the left side.
Yeah, you mean, I think you are talking about, I guess, here, right?
Yeah, where you have the two gables meeting in the
Yes,
middle with the
yes.
valley.
Um,
Consider any other
I'm
file?
Right now, I'm proposing a slanted roof with a valley there. I'm not thinking of anything special there, but maybe I have a helper who is more attuned with residential construction. I can ask him to add right now. So Sunny, if you have any comment, you can give it right now.
Okay, we're on the questions part right now, so we'll get to comment.
Okay,
We'll let, is a woman or a man speak in a moment.
Okay.
1 second.
okay.
Are there any other questions of the applicant?
That's it for me right now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Then, thank you very much. So do we have members of the public who would like to speak about this item? Or are there any comments received?
We have two hands raised. One is from Sunny, who I believe the architect referred to, so I can
Okay.
allow Sunny to speak first, and then we have another member of the public wishing to speak as well.
Okay.
Sunny, you may begin.
Yes, am I coming through? Can you hear me?
Sort of, not really. A little
Okay.
louder.
Is this any better?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, sorry, I'm on a cell phone. Yes, I'm also an architect, a good close friend of the owner there, and I prepared all the drawings for him. So as far as the new addition in the front at the second floor, we looked at several different roof designs, but what was happening is because of the addition, if we try to continue a regular gable roof, it was increasing the height of the overall of the building. So in order to mitigate that, we decided to have another matching a gable over the front addition, and then where the two gables come down into a valley, it would be a typical what we call another roof taking the water to each direction. And then other things that we looked at was maybe doing another parapet flat roof in the front. But again, looking at it, it was not looking very nice. So the simplest solution was to have another gable in the front, then have a cricket in the middle where the two valleys come to be able to shed the waters in each direction. And then overall, we were able to mitigate not having a higher roof than the existing. We thought that would be much better. And then in the front elevation, it looks very similar to what it is currently, with the hip coming, the gable end coming down towards the front of the house. So that was our thinking behind that roof design.
Okay, great. Then are there other comments?
Yes, we have Olivia. Olivia, go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so my name's Olivia Caniff. We live next door to the right of the property in question. So I have a few things that I'd like to say. But first of all, just one thing that, that the owner did mention was that the property next door was 2-story. So neither property next door are 2-story. So just want to put that out there. We don't have a 2-story house, and neither does the other person on the other side of him. Our area, I have a few areas of concern from briefly looking at the plans that are in question. One is with the addition of the additional space proposed for the second floor, that I would just like to review the lighting on that, because that seems like that's going to block at least 2 or 3 windows of our lighting into our bedrooms. They'll become exceptionally dark with that added space that he's proposing. Also, on the ground floor, I believe, and we're not 100% sure because we didn't measure this out yet, but there is that extra added space that they are proposing to do with the family room at the back, and that looks on that window that's on the right side is quite a large window, and it would be directly looking right into our bedroom. So I wonder if that would be something that you guys could review, possibly move the window down or make it slightly smaller so that, you know, we each have privacy, and that I'm sure they don't want to be looking into our bedroom and we don't want to be looking into their family room. And my other question was, where we actually did a remodel about 15 years ago, and I'm not sure if the city's plans have changed, but this proposal looks like a 4-bedroom proposal, and has the rule changed that you can still have a single garage with a 4-bedroom. Because I know that was something we weren't allowed to do when we were only allowed to do 3 bedrooms because we only had a single garage.
Okay, thank you so much. Was that it for your comments this evening? Yes, I think she's done. Okay. All right. Are there any other comments?
I'll just add for the record, we did also receive an email from Ms. Kenneth with pretty much the same. It did include a request to look at the hard copy of the plan. So I'll be in touch with the project planner, Fazia Ali, to arrange that.
Okay, great. All right, thank you. Thank you very much.
That was the only email.
All right, then I'm gonna close the public hearing. Thank you. So then, comments from my fellow commissioners?
I want to thank you for kind of explaining the roof design piece of it. And I kind of have similar questions about it, but in reality, I mean, just some quick math, you've got room in your height to be able to add a little higher. And I understand the desire to not make it higher for the neighbors, but we're talking about a fairly minimal amount and not really much on the elevation. So it's not like it's gonna dwarf somebody. And I think it could make a much better framed roof solution and kind of make those elevations look a little cleaner. So I think it's worth looking at. I wouldn't say that I would oppose a project that wants to raise the height a little bit in order to make the forms work better. So I think it's a worthwhile exercise in looking at. The other thing that I was kind of looking at from the front elevation, the bathroom on the second floor kind of extends to the right and kind of makes it a little heavy on the right side and a little less balanced than I would maybe like. And I think that you might lose a few square feet on that 4th bedroom, but you might consider reconfiguring that bathroom to have a little bit of setback relief, which is the whole purpose of having the declining height envelope anyway. I know there's non-conforming area there now, but I think it could be cleaned up a little bit there. Otherwise, you know, it's a remodel project and you're matching a lot of the existing that's there. So I can understand that and I can appreciate the reuse of the house. So those are my comments.
Commissioner Say.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Yeah, I was going to say the same thing about that you have ample building height left to work with to improve hopefully your roof design. The house already has a variety of, I mean, not a variety of roof forms, but there's it's quite an asymmetrical design and there are actually a variety of roof forms, and I think the one that's most dramatic, the one right in the middle of the house, that's looks like a 12 and 12 slope, looks to be addressed with your proposed design in your expansion that's going to go away. But I think if you were to take a little closer look at some of your existing elevation and try to form the massing of the second floor to be similar to what you have now. I mean, I do appreciate working with your existing home, not tearing it down and rebuilding it, whatever, but, and there's some nice characteristics, there's some charm to the kind of arrangement of the spaces of the house as it is now, that I think that it could be improved upon with a relook at your second story roof design. I wanted to address the comment from the neighbor to the right. I think a couple of questions that she brought up. One of which is that I believe is correct. You can have up to 4 bedrooms with a 1-car garage. So that is within the planning guidelines, just to clarify that for her. And then secondly, about what was it that she was saying? Yes, so the family room windows, looking at the elevations, look to be quite high, look like transom windows. So I think that for that neighbor, there shouldn't be any concern about privacy looking at their primary bedroom, since it looks like those windows are intended to also provide privacy for both sides. And that looks like that may have been intentionally designed. But that was just to address the comments for the neighbor to the right. And I seem to recall looking on that street that there are some 2-story homes, or maybe they're split levels, but certainly not just 1-story homes on that street. And so I do see that the massing can work, having an expanded second story. And I think that's it for me. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, good. Commissioner Cohen.
Not much to add. I agree with my fellow commissioners. I think the front of the house, the elevation improved from the existing, so I like that. I agree with the roof to see if there's some opportunity there. And then if you're doing all this work, to me, the 2 half-round windows no longer fit. There's no other reference to half-round, so you might consider changing those out for consistency.
Yeah, I agree with my fellow commissioners. And also, I think it's a charming house, and I'm glad that you've decided to go with the original, or at least the existing cladding materials. I think it's a good idea to keep going.
Great. So I have nothing more to add. It's funny with those windows there. They look very 70s, but in a way also there's something maybe a little charming about a tree house. So hard to say. So it could be kind of cool. Anyway, so I have nothing more to add. So I guess I'm looking for a motion, right? Or do we, yes?
Yeah, so this would be design review study, so
Yeah.
motion for either regular action calendar, consent calendar, or design review consult.
Yeah, I move that we bring this project back on action.
I'll second that. Mhm.
Yeah. Commissioner Schmid,
Aye.
Commissioner Shores.
Aye.
Commissioner Say,
Aye.
Acting Vice Chair Horan.
Aye.
And Chair Fa.
Aye. So that also is a 5-0.
0-2.
0-2. Okay, great. Now I'm going to go back though to the front, all right?
Right, we'll just add
I-
the action's not appealable.
Oh, sorry.
And then we get to go back to our regularly scheduled program item.
Okay, wait, I have to do that part. So an action by the, wait, I have to finish. Action by the planning commission is appealable.
Oh, this one is not appealable.
Oh,
It was design review. So this
Oh.
action is not appealable.
Oh, thank you. This action is not appealable. We're
Totally confusing.
going bye-bye. I don't do well when I have to move all over the map. All right. Thank you.
We're now back on script.
Now we're back on script. Okay, so here we go. We're going to move now to item 9A. These are regular action items. Thank you for everyone's patience. For 9A, 1460 Balboa Avenue. If you are the applicant and are attending via Zoom, please raise your hand so that we may be prepared for you to speak at the appropriate time. If possible, we ask that you also turn on your video at that time. For any commissioners not able to visit the project site, or do any commissioners wish to note any ex parte communications regarding this project? No, looks like we don't have that. Let the record note that all commissioners present have visited the project site. Can we hear the project's staff report, please?
Yes, 1460 Balboa Avenue currently contains an existing single-unit dwelling and attached garage. The proposed project includes additions on the first floor and lower level at the rear of the house. Project includes a 1,000 square foot attached accessory dwelling unit attached dwelling. Review of the ADU application is administrative only and is not reviewed by the Planning Commission. Staff has determined that the ADU complies with the ADU regulations. Planning Commission reviewed this as a design review study item on May 22nd this year. The applicant submitted a response letter and revised plans, date stamp June 13th, 2023, to address the Planning Commission's comments and suggestions. The applicant's response letter is included with the staff report. In summary, the applicant is requesting design review for a first and second story addition to an existing single unit dwelling. And the applicant is in attendance on Zoom if there are any questions, but for someone available for questions of staff.
Are there any questions? Nope. Okay. So I'm going to open the public hearing with the applicant. Please come forward and state your name and anything else you would like to add about your project.
Good evening, Commission. Tim Bernines, project designer. I think we kind of summed up all of the comments from last Planning Commission. We've kind of taken your suggestions on the siding and also on the side stairwell. We'll look for any of your comments and hopefully get an approved project. Thank you.
Thank you. And do you have any questions of Tim?
I do.
Okay. Yes. Oh. Mr. Say.
Hi, Tim. I think this is minor, but I think still a drafting error that hasn't been corrected on the proposed left elevation. The rear wall, it's still not showing your staggered nested gables. That's clearly reflected on your roof plan and your floor plan and in your renderings is just missing on the elevation. So just a drafting correction. We can't hear you.
You froze.
Lost you.
I will make that change.
Thank you.
Great. Okay, then I would like to, let's see, open the public hearing. No, we already got that. So we got that. Any questions? Do we have any members of the public who would like to speak on this item?
No email.
And I'm not seeing any hands raised.
Okay. Then I'm gonna close that public hearing. So commissioners, do you have any comments beyond the drafting issue?
I think it looks good. I like the change to the siding and make a motion that we approve this as submitted.
I second that motion.
Okay, thank you.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Schmid, second by Commissioner Say. Roll call, Commissioner Schmid.
Aye.
Commissioner Shores.
Aye.
Commissioner Say,
Aye.
Acting Vice Chair Horan,
Aye.
and Chair Fox.
Aye. Okay, then an action by the, now I get to say that, action by the Planning Commission, appealable to City Council within 10 days of the Planning Commission's action. If the Planning Commission's action has not been appealed or called up for review by City Council by 5 p.m. on the 10th day, the action becomes final. In order to be effective, appeals must be in writing and must be accompanied by an appeal fee of $745, which includes noticing costs. Congratulations. Right, moving along, we're on item 9B. 1209 Cabrillo Avenue. If you are the applicant and are attending via Zoom, please raise your hand so that we may be free to speak at the appropriate time. Possible, we ask for you to turn on your video at that time. Were any commissioners not able to visit the project site, or do any commissioners wish to note any ex parte communications regarding this project? Okay, nobody. Let the record note that all commissioners have visited this site. Can we hear the staff report, please?
This application is for an amendment to design review for proposed changes to a previously approved new two-story single-unit dwelling and attached garage. The previously approved application was for design review and special permit for a new two-story dwelling with an attached garage, which was originally approved on July 12, 2021. A building permit was issued in February of this year, and the project is currently under construction. At the June 12, 2023 Planning Commission meeting, an FYI was submitted for modifications to the approved plans. The Planning Commission called this FYI up for further review as a design review amendment. In the attachments, the applicant has submitted a letter of explanation about the proposed changes requested. That concludes my summary. If there are any questions of staff, I'm available.
Are there any questions? My only question is, was this something that they came forward with for the changes?
Yes.
Okay, then I'm going to open the public hearing. Would the applicant please come forward and state your name? Anything else you'd like to add about your project?
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Ross Levy. I'm the project architect. These are, I think, fairly nominal changes. We aren't changing the footprint or the disposition of the building in any way. They're material changes only. The first change is that we've altered some of the siding materials, nothing that is visible from the street view, but we had quite a lot of wooden siding, and this has been determined to be a maintenance issue over the long run. We're proposing some substitution of stucco, which is the same stucco we've already proposed for some of this wood siding. Secondly, we've had some issues. We were proposing an integrated solar panel roofing material, and we've had some trouble actually acquiring that material and finding licensed installers to install it. So we're now proposing a combination standing steel seam roof and composition shingle roof. The composition shingles will be largely covered by a traditional solar panel array. That's the upper roof of the house, basically invisible from the street, but we provide you a rendering at a higher eye level so that you can on that. And finally, we've relocated the kitchen within the plan of the existing footprint of the plan. And this has resulted in some changes of what were previously sliding glass doors to windows. So there's a slight alteration of the rear elevation. And similarly on the where the kitchen formerly was, we had a couple of windows that were at the counter height, and those have been elevated to be clear story windows. And you can see that on the north elevation. I'm happy to answer any other questions you might have. And I know that the owner is in Zoom and he may want to make a couple of comments himself.
I have a couple questions, but I want to let my colleagues go first. Yes, Commissioner Singh?
I have one question. In your renderings, you're showing, I think it's the downspouts that are showing as black or dark anodized bronze finish. Is that the intention that they will be distinguished from the white stucco or the off-white stucco?
They, the downspouts were previously rendered as dark because they were sitting in the interstitial spaces between the wood sidings. So I think that that's something that we might correct, and where they're against the stucco, we would give a light powder coated finish there to match the stucco.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments, questions from my colleagues? My question was there a reason why? I mean, I see what's been done with the change of materials, and I see that some of it has been changed to stucco, but I'm wondering, was there why? I think it's on the south, what I call it, the south side, why so much wood was removed, or what appears to me to be, not you don't have nearly as much wood on that side as you did. Even, yeah, I realize it's not the front, but it's the side.
Yeah, I mean, well, we removed the wood siding on the area that was set back from the projection of the front of the house so that we felt that it was not visible from the street. And given that it's the south side, it receives the most of the sunshine. So we were concerned about weathering there.
Okay. Yeah, it's in the one I was looking at was the middle section. Okay. All right, are there any? All right, then I'm gonna open it up to the public. Are there any, wait a minute, how do I do? No, do we have any members of the public who wish to speak on this item?
The property owner is on. You're certainly not obligated to talk, but if you would like to, you may, Mr. Walker. But you are muted.
I'm so sorry. Yep, I appreciate everyone's time and the consideration. I know we've spoken to this committee a few different times, and you know, the one thing I would say is that you know, some of these changes were necessitated primarily by the desire to, you know, move our kitchen, which was on the south side towards, or rather on the north side to the south side, to give us a more integrated living space. And that kind of is what drove some of these changes in terms of the layout. And I think Ross kind of he illustrated the point around why we decided to move away from the original proposed Tesla roof, just given some of the issues that we had heard, that it was an immature product and the servicing and especially the installation of it was extremely unreliable. So that's why we moved away from that.
Okay, thank you so much.
I don't see any hands raised
Right.
on Zoom, and I just want to make sure there's no members of the public who wish to speak. They can do so now here in council chambers.
Is there anyone here who would like to speak about this project? Nope.
No email.
Okay. All right, then I'll close the public hearing and I'm looking for comments from my commissioners.
So I'd like to thank the owner and the architect for bringing this forward to us in advance as opposed to after it's done, and giving us the opportunity to work with you on this. I also appreciate the depth of the presentation that you brought back to make it clear to us where the changes were made, to make it a little easier for us to get through this FYI. You know, this was definitely a complicated project when you came through the first time, and I appreciate the effort being put into finishing it well. I totally understand the issues with the roof, and I totally understand the issues with the maintenance with the wood. So I can appreciate this change, and I support this change.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, just speaking from being one of the people who wanted to pull it off the FYI list for review. I apologize to have to bring you back this time in person. And I think that it would have been helpful to have received the renderings at that time. I think part of my questions was I couldn't read what was submitted clearly to understand the implications of the proposed changes in the roofing material. I can understand the decrease in the extent of the rain screen materials around the house, but it was really the roof that I was concerned about seeing, but I can see it very clearly in the revised proposed renderings, which look very realistic. And I too want to commend you for bringing back a very complete package for our review, and sorry to have to bring you back here one more time. I think it's very helpful, and as well want to reiterate the importance of bringing this up to our attention now while you're under construction rather than after the fact. So thank you. And I too can support the project moving forward.
So does anyone else have?
If not, I'll make a motion.
I just was going to say one little comment.
Go ahead.
I think I would have preferred that one thing in the middle to be also wood, but it's not a deal breaker, and it's fine. It's not bothering my colleagues, and so I too, wherever you are, where is he? Yes. Well, I was looking at the TV thing, the Zoomy man, the owner. I really I do appreciate the effort made for, with the rendering and to come back with a really more complete program. So we didn't have to look at this too long. That's also one who pulled it up. So thank you very much. And so I'll leave it to my colleagues to.
So I'll make a motion that we approve the changes as submitted.
Second.
Great, thank you. So I need a roll call.
Commissioner Schmidt,
Aye.
Commissioner Shores,
Aye.
Commissioner Say,
Aye.
Acting Vice Chair Horan,
Aye.
Chair Foss.
Aye. Congratulations. Do I have to say that again, the whole thing?
The motion passes 5-0-2, and you can read the appeal.
Okay, here I go. An action by the Planning Commission is appealable to the City Council within 10 days of the Planning Commission's action. If the Planning Commission's action has not been appealed or called up for review by the City Council by 5 p.m. on the 10th day, the action becomes final. In order to be effective, appeals must be in writing and must be accompanied by an appeal fee of $745, which includes noticing. Thank you very much and congratulations. Thank you for coming back. All right, so oh no, we're not doing that one. So but however, I believe I am going to, can I open the public comment for 123 in case anyone waited around? Did we decide we were going to do that?
No, we don't need to do that. We can.
Okay,
Read it in
sorry.
the design review.
Got mixed up. Okay. All right, that brings us to, now we're back to design review 10A, right?
Correct.
So we're on 1344 Cortez Avenue. If you are the applicant or are attending the meeting via Zoom, please raise your hand so that we may be prepared for you to speak at the appropriate time. If possible, we ask that you also turn on your video at that time. For any commissioners not able to visit the project site, or do any commissioners wish to know any ex parte communications regarding this project? I don't see any. Okay, so we're good. Let the record note that all commissioners present have visited the project site. Can we hear the staff report, please?
This application is for design review for a new 2-story single unit dwelling and detached garage. The proposed project is an interior lot with an existing 2-story house with an attached garage. The applicant is proposing to demolish all structures on site and build a new 2-story house with a detached 1-car garage. The total floor area would be 3,246 square feet, where 3,265 square feet is the maximum allowed. The new dwelling would contain 4 bedrooms. At least 2 parking spaces are required, one of which must be covered. The proposed detached garage provides 1 covered space and 1 uncovered space is provided in the driveway. All other zoning code requirements have been met. 1 existing landscape tree will be removed and 6 new 24-inch box landscape trees are proposed to be planted on site. That concludes my summary. If there are any questions of staff, I'm available at this time.
Are there any questions of staff? Nope. Okay, thank you very much. All right, so I'm going to open the public hearing with the applicant. Please come forward and state your name and anything else you'd like us to know about your project.
Good evening. There we go. My name is Yossi Zinger. I'm with TLG Architects. Thank you for having us here this evening for a study session. And we're here to propose a new 2-story residence with a detached garage. It's in the modern Tudor style, which is distinguished by crisp gable shapes, modern detailing, standing seam metal roof, with some contrasting wood elements and accents, bay windows and steel and glass entry doors, and the stained wood ceiling on that porch. We have gone through the neighborhood and we think that we've designed the house to be compatible with both the adjacent houses and the neighborhood as a whole. We have broken down the massing by setting back the second floor a little bit so that the front gable is narrow and vertical as is appropriate for the style, with a broad porch, flat roof porch on the left, and like I said, a steel and glass door. And I have with me the landscape architect, Michael Callan, to talk about planting, things like that. The neighborhood is mostly an eclectic mix of Tudor and shingle style and craftsman bungalows with some modern farmhouse and modern Tudors mixed in as well. I have some photos, but you guys know the neighborhood well. And a site plan reinforces the parking and driveway pattern in the neighborhood. The existing house that we are demolishing is a two-story bungalow, sort of San Francisco style in stucco, with the garages at the basement. Well, the first floor is the garage, facing the street in the middle, and with the driveway in the middle of the block. And we are reconfiguring the whole thing so that the driveway goes on the right side, just consistent with the other adjacent houses on the street, which all of the driveways on the right side. It opens up a space between a vertical gable and the house on the right, so that there's a lot of air and space between those. And then on the left, we're stepping down the house towards the lower neighbor, which is a cottage. I think that's it for me. And Mike, do you want to add anything?
Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah.
Yes. Richard.
So with the relocation of the driveway, what's going to happen with the street trees? Mike? Yeah, sorry. Him first.
Good evening. So yeah, I think that there's the what is it, the sycamore tree is staying, and then there's the other tree next to it that I think we're clear of right there, but I don't, is that the trees that you're talking about?
Yeah, I was just curious because I would say that the one tree is probably right on the cut line of the apron. Wasn't sure if you were planning to take it out, put something more in the middle, or seeing how you're moving the driveway.
Yeah, I mean, we could. I mean, it's not, obviously with the London plane trees and the sycamores, it would, we want to keep those. I can't remember if that was a magnolia. It wasn't.
It says crepe myrtle. If I'm-
Oh, okay.
I mean, I think.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not, we could definitely do that. If it,
It's either protect it or replace it, one or
Yeah.
the other.
I mean, I do like great myrtle trees, so it would give a little color. I did put another tree that they actually had me move, so it was out of the canopy of the sycamore tree.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? I guess I wanted to, if I'm jumping ahead, I wanted to also ask about trees. So is that myrtle a big tree? Like, is it big already? They don't get very big.
They don't get too big, not as big as the sycamore tree.
Right. I was going to ask you about the ones that I think are labeled in the back that you're putting in, which are the Saratoga, Grecian laurel. How large should those get?
They can get up to about 25 feet, but usually they stay around 15 or 20. It's just kind of a good, you can shape them. That's just a really good evergreen. It's actually the bait that you use for cooking. And
Right. Oh, no, I think I know that they're nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
just curious. And I guess, yeah, very good. And does anyone else have any questions? Okay. All right, then I will, does anyone, and I guess I'm going to open public comment, right? Who's next? Do we have any members of the public who would like to speak about this project at 1344 Cortez? Or any items sent in or?
Not seeing emails.
And there are no hands raised on Zoom.
Okay, then I'm gonna close the public hearing. So commissioners.
Oops. It's not there. Thank you. Let's see, just from a comment perspective, I think this is a very nice, clean line. No fuss is fine. The only comment that I want to make, and it's not major, but when we're looking at the elevations, there's a lot of horizontal lines, dash lines and things indicating floor levels and ceiling levels and such. But when you look at the rendering of the front, I feel like that second story is kind of ominous over the first story. It feels a little bit tall. It's definitely tall, and feels heavy, maybe because it's all in white. And then the floor below has a narrow area with a change in materials, maybe colored stucco or siding, painted siding. But then I kind of appreciate the modernist approach of this. I'm not really bothered by it, but I'm kind of curious what my fellow commissioners feel. It's just, I think it looks different to me in elevation versus in the rendering, and I'm struggling with that.
Other comments?
Okay, now I'll go. I actually find it a very flat design. There's no overhangs, there's not much in the way of shadows. I think that front elevation, it's coming over the front is ominous because it has no base to it. There's no corbel, there's no band. There's nothing really to kind of break it up. So it's just a big form sticking over. And really that right side elevation is 2-story the whole length of the driveway with a pop out on top of that. So I don't think it gives any relief to that. I like the way the roof is working and is creating that solar platform. That actually is a very innovative use of that space. But the materials and things are just not doing it for me as far as making a nice modern farmhouse. It seems pretty flat. The other thing that might help is a little bit more detail on window detail, sections through the windows so that we can see, because we're really seeing just a square stucco in, no trim, and a recessed aluminum window, which is, again, flat to me. So maybe a little bit more information on the way the detail for the window is going to go might help me see that a little bit better. It's not that I don't like the modern farmhouse. We have a few good examples, but we also have some bad examples down too. And I wouldn't want to see this one be one of those.
Yeah, I mean, I like the house. The simplicity, has a point of view, which I think is good. I don't disagree though with my commissioners, so I don't know what you'll do with that. I do think the roof plan is one of the slickest roof plans I've seen in a while. It's just really clean, and the space for the solar panels works really well. The overhangs of the lack of overhangs on the roof, add to that flatness. I also don't know, what the thought is on just rain coming down the sides of the house and just not shedding with an overhang. And then my pet peeve is 3-foot wide porches. They're not very useful. So if that porch could be 5 feet deep, it would be a lot more useful for actually putting a chair on.
Yeah, I'm generally a fan of the house as well. I didn't notice that about how the roof hides the solar panels. That is really clever when I look at it that way. Generally, I do like it, and I like what they're going for, but except for that protruding gable end and second story, I was lacking the words for it earlier, but yeah, it looks larger than it is because there's all the extra white space, and then there's this small double hung windows in the middle. So it looks even larger than it actually is for how much it takes up of the front facade. And yeah, other commissioners have already discussed ways to adjust that, and I agree with those.
So I'll go. I'm along with my commissioner next to me. Would really be good to revisit that porch because it's just too skimpy because it's kind of a faux porch. So it'd be great if you could bring that out to at least 5 feet. I think we've discussed this before, what's a good width, but it's kind of skimpy. But yeah, I do think it could really be helped. It looks very flat. So I have nothing more to add than what's been said already. And so what are we going to do with this? Oh, wait a minute. Do I have to ask? Are you all done? All right, so then I will ask do you have any members of the public who would like to?
No, we're in comment.
Oh, I did?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm looking for a motion. Sorry about that.
I move we bring this back on action.
Okay, with the comment. All right.
Second.
Commissioner Schmidt,
Aye.
Commissioner Shores,
Aye.
Commissioner Say,
Aye.
Acting Vice Chair Horn,
Aye.
Chair Foff.
Aye. Okay,
That motion passes 5002.
all right. And so, this action is not appealable. Thank you very much for your time. Now we're on item 10B, 1588 Columbus Avenue. If you are the applicant and are attending Zoom, please raise your hand so that we may be prepared for you to speak at the appropriate time. Possible, we ask that you may also turn on your video at this time, or any commissioners not able to visit the project site, or do any commissioners want to note any ex parte communications regarding this project? No, we have no recusals. So let the record note that all commissioners present have visited the site. Can we hear the staff report, please?
This application is for design review for a first and second story addition to an existing single unit dwelling. The proposed project is an interior lot with an existing one-story house with an attached one-car garage. The applicant is proposing a first floor addition at the rear of the house and a new 935 square foot second story at the front of the house. The total floor area would increase from 1,277 square feet to 2,725 square feet, where 2,736 square feet is the maximum allowed. The number of bedrooms would increase from 2 to 4, and at least 2 parking spaces are required, one of which must be covered. The existing attached garage provides 1 covered space and 1 uncovered space is provided in the driveway. All other zoning code requirements have been met. All existing trees are proposed to remain and no new landscape trees are proposed. That concludes my summary. Any questions of staff?
Any questions? All right, very good. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to open the public hearing. With the applicant, please come forward and state your name and anything else you'd like us to know about your project.
Yeah, hi, this is James Chu Design Associates. Thank you for having me. This is, again, pretty straightforward project where we are expanding our new kitchen, family room on the ground floor, adding 2 bedroom, 2 bath, and a loft on the second floor. We try to design a second story that has similar architecture features such as the slope roof and the flat roof. And because of the setback, the second story of the master has been pushed back. Really, we thought this project is pretty straightforward. So I'd like to answer any question you may have.
Are there any questions?
This is just out of interest. Why is the existing garage skewed? You have a history of that?
I have no idea, and I would never do that.
No, I
Skewed the wrong way.
yeah.
Is, I wonder why. Maybe because this house was on a bigger lot at one time, and they subdivided
I see.
to create this scenario. Again, if you look at the existing floor plan, there's no. Besides the garage door, there's no second door to access the garage. And that's why we we added a new door into the garage from the rear. We changed, well, we added a French door with landing and steps coming down so we can bring our trash through the garage to the driveway and so on. Yeah, and that's something we are stuck with.
I have a question, but I'm gonna let. Why don't you go
Yes,
first?
so, on the existing house, there's the gable roof on the right. There's that one slope, and then there's the, square mass that comes out to the left when you're looking at it from the front, and of course, the garage. Do you know, if that mass was a later addition to this house, or if this was all built like this originally? I'm just curious if you know that.
I can tell you, sorry, I didn't do any research on the existing.
And also, I just wanted to clarify, the current house has like a very kind of wavy stucco texture on it, and the drawings are describing a smooth stucco. So in the renovation, you would change the texture of the stucco on the exterior to very smooth?
Most likely, because majority of the stucco will be damaged when they put up second story and single story. But that's something we can think about it. Perhaps bring back the texture stucco finishes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So my question was actually exactly the same regarding the stucco. So in my neighborhood, we call that stomp and drag, which I'm sure is not the right name for that interesting stucco. So I wondered how you were going to handle that, but I kind of like it, but anyway, the rough stuff. But
Yeah, I think people nowadays try to
yeah, everything's
change the style to more modern.
Yeah. But whatever you pick will match, like whatever is chosen, it's going to be the same all over.
Correct.
Yeah, great. Okay. All right, then I'm going to ask, that was it, right? Okay. So I'm going to ask the public for, did I do questions already from the public? No, okay, questions from the public? No. So it's any members who wish to speak on this item or any comments received?
No emails.
Nope, no emails, okay.
And no hands raised on Zoom.
All right, then I'm going to close the public hearing and ask my commissioners for comments. Mhm.
I really like it right out of the box. I don't have any concerns for me. I think it's a great adaptation of the existing house that's there, and I think that everything fits nicely. So I really like it.
Yeah, I fully agree with my fellow commissioner. Looking at the rendering and the front elevation, it almost looks like this was a brand new home. It's hard to see the renovation, which is a compliment. Also, that quirky garage creates a pretty cool outdoor terrace at the front of the house, which is kind of an outdoor porch, which I like. So yeah, I like the house as designed.
I also,
I was saying I'll go last.
okay. No, I also love, I really like, I think you did a great job on this. Love the reuse of the really charming door and garage doors as well, which I think are staying. I don't know. It's just really lovely and fits in the setting, and you did a real nice job.
Oh, yeah, I agree with my fellow commissioners. Beautiful design, very handsomely designed, and developed from an existing home. It's like, Commissioner Haran said, it's like almost seamless. You can't tell where the addition may be. I am a fan of that heavily troweled finish, and I just kind of sketched in, this is totally minor, but the only thing that kind of bothered me about the front elevation was the existing window in the living room that's really short, or that is tall, but had a low header height. And then I can see from the addition of the planter box outside the, what is that? Is that also the living room? The, one's a living room and one, oh, it's a bedroom. That, James, maybe you were looking to try to add some decoration or some, design aesthetic to, that first floor there. And I kind of saw automatically in my mind, with this style home, one of those, kind of either a hammered wood lintel above the living room and this bedroom window. Since your rendering shows the garage door outlined in black, it could be a lintel painted in black. I feel like something there would be just a nice enhancement to that front elevation. But you know, certainly up to you on that. It's just an observation that I've made, but otherwise a really beautiful design.
So does anyone want?
I'll make oh, you want me to speak? Go ahead.
Yeah, no, yeah, I did.
Sorry.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say is, I agree with my fellow commissioners. I'm personally very impressed at this design. I've seen a lot of, I don't believe that the massing I was asking about was original, probably not, but regardless, the existing state of the house compared to the renderings and the elevations, I was impressed. I was not expecting an improvement. I was expecting like, oh, this will be okay. I'm impressed. It's a very, very good design. And I'm glad that the architect has decided to continue a lot of other features of the style that weren't there originally, like the wrought iron covers on the window and kind of continuing like that flared wall coming out of the arch doorway. I'm glad they've decided to enhance the design and not just kind of make it good enough to pass on that. That being said, there's one thing I would like to add. It's a small change, but I think it will enhance the design a lot is the parapets on the flat roofs. There's a house across the street and two down on the left that has also a flat parapet, but it is shaped. It's not consistent all the way across. There's little arches going down and there are parts that are higher up. Adding some kind of small variation in the parapet is not a huge investment in materials or structure, but it's going to make the building look even better. And like I said, I'm already impressed at how much of an improvement it is over the existing. And as per the stucco as well, I do currently prefer the current texture on the stucco. It's not a deal breaker for me, but there are also, you would be shocked at how many different ways people figured out to texture stucco when that was all the material that they had at the time. There are different textures than just flat and the existing to work with. And I think if you look at what's out there already, you might be surprised at what you find, but either way, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. And great.
I'm
Thank you.
willing to make a motion that we bring it back on consent.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
Commissioner Schmidt,
Aye.
Commissioner Shores,
Aye.
Commissioner Say,
Aye.
Acting Vice Chair Horan,
Aye.
Chair Foff.
Aye. Okay, thank you very much. And this item is, right, go back to that.
Sorry, the,
Oh,
it's 5002
oh, sorry,
and not appealable.
it's not appealable. All right. It's easy. Okay, we've already done Victoria Road. No, wait, that come on, right? We did Victoria Road
Did we want to ask or any public comments that came in late for that?
for Victoria.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was. Thank you.
No,
We-
we already had a.
We did have for 221 coming late. Do I need to do that again? Yeah.
For which?
Public comment for 221?
No, no, we.
Okay, because we did it early. All right, okay. So, okay, then I guess we're gonna move along. That was it for design review items. So I'm moving along there. So we have agenda item 11, commissioners' reports. Are there any commissioners' reports?
Looks like there's one.
Is there?
It's a direct.
Is there one? It's a director's report. All right, so number 12 is director's report. So we're going to hear about 1855 and 1881 Rollinson update 12.
That's correct. And this is it's an update. So it's not an FYI. There's not an action to be taken, but the commission did request or provide some sort of food for thought or additional thoughts for the applicant for the 1855-1881 Rollins Road project. They provided a letter that provided some response. Some of the things they were able to change, others they were not. But they explained their rationale for each of the items that the planning commission expressed interest in.
Okay.
Is there an opportunity for me to make a quick statement on that?
You can certainly make no statement.
Unfortunately,
Okay.
since it's a
Take
report,
No action, but yeah.
no comments can be made.
Okay.
The other thing we'll say, city council continued the discussion of the housing opportunities, priorities and education committee, HOPE committee that the commission started with the council in the joint meeting. So that's moving along. There is a subcommittee of the city council that will continue to work on implementation of there's really two directions that have come up. One is the focusing on existing housing stock that could be preserved as naturally affordable. And the other would be to continue to support newly constructed affordable housing, including possibly the city initiating another project similar to the village. So that that'll be continuing along. And most likely some of those projects may be back your way.
Okay, thank you for those. And then I've got future agenda items. Was there anyone here who wanted to? All right, seeing none, then this meeting is adjourned at 8:25. Thank you very much, and sorry for a little bit back and forth confusion.
That's okay.
Apple.